I can't right now, guys. Okay, before we get into my dilemma right now, let's backtrack to Sunday. And I should have pulled this up before I started recording. We know that would have been logical. Okay, what was Sunday? Was that this day? Oh my god, I did something. Oh, I did something. Okay, so we're gonna backtrack a little bit. So I am doing the Harry Potter read along with Nicole and Coda and Neva, but I am behind. I am still on book 2 because I had all these library books that Libby so rudely would not let me renew. And I'm like, I don't want to sit on the wait list again. So I had to read them, right? So anyways, I am still on Chamber Secrets. I read 96 pages of it on Sunday. That's the day I'm looking for. And so, you know, that's going well. I'm a good chunk into the book. This one isn't my favorite, so this one usually takes me the longest to read because, like, it's probably my least favorite out of the series. I don't really care, you know. But I mean, not that I don't. I mean, I'd like it, but like, you know, it's not my favorite. You know, words. And then I was reading my other library book that was going to be due. It was due on Sunday night, which was Murder in the Drawing Room by C.J. Archer, which follows young Cleopatra Fox. It takes place in 1900. She is her parents have passed away. She was living with her grandparents. They have since passed away, so now she's living with her uncle. And you know, because it's the 1900s, she has to be taken care of by a man. So her uncle, you know, provides her with an allowance, and she lives in his hotel and stuff for free. But she does not want to rely on a man. She wants to make her own way, and she wants to be a private detective. And you know what? She's good at this, but she has to do it under the radar, so her uncle don't know. So we're doing it under the radar, right? And in this one, she is hired to do a job for a man. He's a lord. He's pretty sure his wife's cheating on him, and he wants proof so he can divorce her. So she's like, okay, fine, you know, beggars can't be choosers. We all got to start somewhere, right? So she's investigating this, trying to figure out who the wife's lover is, and well, before she figures it out, the wife gets murdered. That's the part I'm at. And like I said, it was due on Sunday night, and I totally wasn't going to finish it on Sunday night. And I found it on Hoopla instead, so instead of using it on Libby, I now have it on Hoopla for another 3 weeks. So, I mean, it's going to be top priority for me to finish because of that. But I'm like, oh, look, more time. But then, at 7:30 Wednesday morning, I have Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates due. And this is not available on my Hoopla, and I cannot renew. So I was like, okay, I gotta read this. So I read the first 96 pages of Dead of Winter, which I think it's like roughly 25-ish% almost, on Sunday night. And this is the book I can't, guys. I absolutely can't. Like, you know, I am struggling in a good way. Like, I am ready to scream. So I read a good chunk of it. I was up pretty late reading it, and I was like, yo, you gotta go to bed. You gotta work early in the morning, you know? So I did put it down. But I picked it up again last night, and I read from like 25% to like 66%, which is like 158 pages. And I was like, this is just like... And at that point, I was like, I like this book, but let me tell you guys, it's when I was finishing reading it today, which I have just finished it. And I was really going back and forth with my stars between a 4 and a 5. And you know what? Just to make this easier, we're going to give it 4.5. Because the first half of the book, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good, like a solid 4, but like the ending is a 5 for the most part. I had to think what I was going to say there. For the most part, the ending is a 5. And what it makes me lean more towards a 4.5 is because, and when I say the last part, like the last third of the book is like a 5 minus the last chapter. And I will explain. And the first 2/3 is like a 4, and normally that would be enough to push my rating up to a 5, but I do not like the last chapter, like I said. So the last chapter, I don't want to spoil too much, but it ends a little ambiguous, and like, dude, these Are these people alive yet? Like, I need to know. Are these people still alive? Like, are they alive? Like, you can't just end a book and not tell me if these people are alive. You can be like, oh, we have to try to keep them alive. No, are they alive? Like, you can't, like, okay, you can end it, but can you, like, put a blurb after the book, like, yo, the characters lived, it's fine. Or they died. You know, I just need closure on these characters, okay? And that's where I don't like it, but, like, I was not okay. Like, I was reading, and like I said, the last third is where it really ramps up, and it's really, like, in the last 25% really that it does, where I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And I just kept saying what the fuck after every single thing happened. And I know I've said it before, I don't like twist after twist after twist. And this has some things like that, but it's with our suspect, not like theories of like how a person died, or like, you know, it's complicated because, you know, I didn't really like how it was done in The Last Party by Claire McIntosh, or The Engagement Party by Darby Coates. No, not Darby Kane. I'm getting my Darbys confused. So The Engagement Party is by Darby Kane. And I didn't like all the twists right at the end, but like this one, Darcy Coates did a really, really good job with it. Because, you know, when you're keeping me here going, what the fuck? What the fuck? And it's now past 11, and I have to be up for work at 6 a.m. But, like, I had to finish the book, one, because it was due, but also because I couldn't put it down, because I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck? What the fuck? Repeatedly. So, enjoyable time. It's a 4.5 stars. This is my first Darby Coates, and I do own, I believe I own Carol Hunt somewhere. It is somewhere in my apartment. I recall buying it. Anyways. But yes, that was my first one. But I'm gonna wrap this up because, yeah, like I said, I work at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and I need to go to bed. Hello. You are on my steering column. I will try not to knock you guys over. But I actually just got back from my work conference for the weekend. It was only like a 24-hour trip. So, I wasn't gone too long here. So tomorrow is definitely a day of relaxing, but I'm still not done and cannot relax quite yet. So I went from like work Friday, worked from like 7:45 to, we left at 3:30 straight from work, from our main office. So that was like an hour drive for me. So I did get a lot of audiobook done during this time because I had to drive down there. I had to drive to work, which was like an hour trip, and then I had to drive to the conference and then back, and now I'm driving to my mom's house. It is Saturday night. So we left at 3:30 on Friday, and the conference was down in Columbus, Ohio, because I'm from Ohio, so we drove down to Columbus, and we spent the night. Some people did not. I'm like, I'm so glad my work is okay with splurging for us to spend the night. Because if I had to get up, because the conference started at 8. That's when things started. It is advised you were there beforehand. So like, if I had to drive down this morning, it would have been awful. I mean, like, I wouldn't have had to bring Ellie to my mom's house because Ellie's at my mom's house. My little 9-year-old brother is watching her. He watched her, I dropped her off Thursday night, so he watched her Thursday night, and then he watched her last night, and I'm going to my mom's tonight for other reasons unrelated to the conference. But I have to watch him tomorrow. My sister has a volleyball tournament 2 hours away, a club volleyball tournament. So my mom needs to bring her to that, and the 9-year-old is not going to sit at a volleyball tournament all day. I don't want to sit and stare at volleyball all day. Like, I love my sister to death, but girl, this is a long time to sit here and watch. You don't even play like all day long. Like, you take breaks. This is like dumb and boring for me. Anyways, so ADHD moment. My brain is all over the place. I slept like shit last night. it wasn't like the hotel wasn't comfy, but I just like slept like shit. So like every time I laid on my left side, like 45 minutes later, my whole arm would go numb, and like that would wake me up. Like I don't know if there's like something, like it is very tender and like irritated, like all the muscles are tight in that shoulder. So I don't know if like something is like being pinched or what, but I don't know what I did. But we had a very nice night. So like after we drove down, and like I said, the traffic was like, if I had to drive down in the morning this morning, it would have been awful because I sat in traffic for probably 45 minutes. It was like straight shot, it'd be like an hour and 45-minute drive for me. It was straight up almost a 3-hour drive with the traffic. And I don't know how anyone lives in a goddamn city, because y'all see sitting in this traffic on a regular basis. And like that is ridiculous. Like, why is it taking 30 minutes to drive 2 miles? No ma'am. I can tell you right now, I am driving 29 miles to my mom's house right now, and it will take me 40 minutes. Like, no, we ain't playing this dumb traffic shit. I'm sorry. It's horrendous. Also, the roads were shit. Like, why are there giant potholes in the middle of these big busy roads? I can't stand cities. You know what? This is why I don't live in one. I lived in one for 4 years when I was in Cleveland, but like, I'm not even gonna lie, I think Cleveland traffic was better than Columbus traffic. And that's saying something. Like, I never sat bumper to bumper not moving in Cleveland unless there was an accident. There was no accidents. This was just traffic. I can't, you know. But I had a great time at the conference. So after we checked into our hotel, which work paid for, along with the conference, which the conference was $225 a person, and then they got us all hotel rooms. So how many hotel rooms? We had 4 hotel rooms. There was 2 persons to a room. I was trying to think of how many of us went. And you know, it was fun. It all went well. And they're like, we're so sorry you're not on the same floor. I'm like, I don't care if we're all on the same floor, because we weren't spending a ton of time in our hotel room anyways. Like, we checked in at 5:45 and we had to be downstairs in the lobby to meet for dinner at 6:30. And then we walked to Cooper's Hawk, which is a winery, which we took a very scenic route because our GPS was like, turn this way, turn this way, turn this way. I'm like, bro, like, I can't right now. Like, what are we doing? But we got there, and again, work is so grateful and paid for it, because this is a bit out of my price range for restaurants. Like, I don't go out to eat unless it's a fast food restaurant, guys. Like, it's a little out of my price range. But I got like, no, I didn't feel bad because everybody else did too. Otherwise I would have felt like horrible. But I got the filet mignon, which was like $50. But it was so good, guys. It was so good. It was really good. Like, you didn't even need steak sauce for it. Like, it was so good. Like, I got a Parmesan crust on it. It was amazing. And between the drinks they all bought us, we had the company credit card, mind you, and dinner itself may have been, or may not have been, $1,000 minus the tip. And there were 8 of us. So the amount that Fireworks spends for us to go to this is ridiculous. And then the thing we were talking, we're like, our doctors didn't come with us. We were supposed to have 2 of our surgeons come with us, and they both didn't come. One just straight up bailed on us, and like, nobody's gonna tell him no because he owns the practice. It's a private practice. And the other one had a personal matter he had to attend to. So we're like, okay. So we were just like by ourselves. We didn't have any doctors there. We're like, haha. But if our doctors came with us, there's first of all, both of them are guilty of this. That bill would have been $500 more guaranteed if they came with us. No joke. You guys are so crooked, it's gonna bother me. Like, okay, it's just gonna stay crooked. I get it. I'm gonna warn you guys, it's gonna get very dark. We are entering where there are no street lights, because we don't have street lights around here. But anyways, we got done with dinner around, well, we had, our reservations were for 7, so we didn't leave the restaurant until about 10:30, and we walked back to our hotel, which it's not a far walk, really. It was like 15 minutes, something like that. I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes, something like that. And then I proceeded to stay up until midnight, like a logical person, watching documentaries, murder documentaries. I was like, I'm just gonna stay up and watch this murder documentary. But then, like, I slept like that. But like, we got up at, I got up at like 6:30, and I got ready for the conference, and we were downstairs. We were downstairs by 7:30, and we checked in for the conference, and they did have breakfast for us, which admittedly, breakfast was not great, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the options were very limited. We're just gonna have eggs and oatmeal, and like, they had fruit, but like, I couldn't eat the fruit because they mixed everything together, like it was a mixed fruit thing, which is fine for most people, except for I'm allergic to pineapple, and they had pineapple in it, so I couldn't eat it. Otherwise, I totally would have got fruit. Like, that was the option. I'm like, ugh. Now I can't even have fruit because you just had to go and mix everything together. And I was sad because everything was mixed together. And then we had, I'll go into our lectures here. I was gonna take photos and videos, but like, I don't want to gross you guys out, because after I was looking at them, like, you know, Alexis, not everybody is okay with gory photos of a bloody eyeball, or watching them stab an eyeball with a scalpel. You know, you guys probably aren't all cool with that. So, I will just omit those parts and like tell you what my lectures were about for this conference. So, there were 7 of them. So my first one was on inherited retinal disorders, and what new technologies are becoming available for us to be able to treat these retinal disorders. And so there are these new retina surgeries. They're in their very infancy, and they're very expensive. They're like $45,000 per eye, and they're hereditary retinal disorders, so you have to do this to both eyes. But there are these cases, guys, where we have these young kids who have retinal disorders, and they can't see, like they're born not being able to see because of a chromosome abnormality, and they're able to do, like, they can't see their hand moving in front of their face, really. Like, they can see the shadow. They can't, like, tell how many fingers you're holding up. And the guy giving the lecture told the story about how he had one of those kids, and he did they did this viral protein surgery for the inherited retinal disorder to mimic the chromosome that's abnormal. And this kid was able to see 20/40 post-op. And like, that stuff just gives me chills. Like, we're being able to give people sight that they've never had. Like, he goes, this patient was 4 years old. This 4-year-old had never saw before. And he goes, post-op, he was bouncing around the office in his exam room because he could finally see. He couldn't see before, and now he finally can. And like, I seriously have chills. It's just like, it's such an amazing thing that we're able to do with medicine now, that we're able to fix chromosome abnormalities, especially with something as, like, retina damage is permanent, guys. If your retina is damaged, it's permanent. There's no coming back from it.
with the current technology. Like, we can't, it's just like if your brain is injured, we can't fix it. So it's like amazing that we're able to find out how to fix those chromosomes that are wrong and like preventing people from being able to see, and like finding more research for like Stargardt's disease, which is basically, it's very similar to macular degeneration. I feel like everyone's heard of macular degeneration. It's like one of the biggest things out there, but it's in young people. It happens, and there's nothing we can do for it, really. It's just like, it's there, it's gonna happen. Like, we can't fix it, but there's new technology that mimics being able for them to see better, and all this new technology to help people with low vision, like poor vision, be able to function better in today's society. So I really did enjoy this man's lecture. My second lecture was on managing iris tumors, which admittedly I took, and we don't do a lot with this, so it was probably the least useful lecture I took, because we don't do shit with iris tumors. We really don't. Like, if they are benign, we just document them, you know, but if they're malignant, if it's cancerous, we think, we have to refer it out. We don't do anything with them. So it wasn't about benign ones. It's obviously about the cancerous ones we're talking about here. So, but I really did enjoy, like, the lecturer had videos of him in the operating room, that's what I'm looking for, of him doing different surgeries. So I really did enjoy it, like, of him cutting out the tumors, which is very interesting, to cut out the tumor out of the color part of your eye, and then he has to like stitch it together. It was very fascinating to watch. And then my third lecture was the basics of glaucoma. Admittedly, glaucoma is probably one of my favorite things to scribe on. Like, that sounds really bad, because glaucoma steals people's visions, you know, like these are horrible diseases that steal people's visions, but I really enjoy the glaucoma exams. Like, I enjoy looking at the optic nerve imaging, and I enjoy looking at the visual fields and talking about where the defects are and what part of the nerve is damaged, and learning about learning about the drugs that we use to treat glaucoma, or the different surgeries. Like, I really am interested in like the surgery aspects of it. So that one was perfect. I loved it. We watched several different glaucoma surgeries. I wish they would have talked a little bit more about, it's called Omni for short. It's the procedure that our surgeons mainly use in cataract surgery. It's a double surgery, cataract and glaucoma surgery in one. They didn't really talk about it, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is, you know. So my fourth lecture was ocular emergencies, and admittedly it was, I mean, we see a lot of ocular emergencies. We are a private practice. We have multiple surgeons and stuff on staff. We have medical optometrists. So, I mean, doing that was kind of like, oh wow, look at that. Like, nothing they said I hadn't seen in the office sitting in front of me. I've seen every single one of these sitting in front of me. Retinal detachments, corneal ulcers, iritis, corneal abrasion. Like, I have, like, chemicals in the eye. I literally had a patient not that long ago who straight up poured hydrogen peroxide in her eye because she thought it was distilled water. Like, I've seen all the ocular emergencies she was talking about, so like, it wasn't really. And after lunch, I had 3 more lectures. So my first one was corneal surface diseases in relation to cataract surgery. So we cannot get good cataract measurements if you have an ocular surface disease. The most common one is dry eye syndrome, DES for short. Most people don't know they have it. Guarantee you have it. I'm sorry. If you're sitting here staring at the screen right now, you have dry eye disease. And you know why? Because this entire time I've been talking, you haven't been blinking normal. When we stare at our phones, tablets, screens, TVs, books, we don't realize it, but we're not blinking. Not a joke. We're like our brain forgets to tell us to blink. So we get these horrible, like, we don't even realize it. Our eyes become numb to the pain of them being dry, to the point where people's corneas look like absolute trash. Like, you know, you like are almost at the point of needing a cornea transplant because your cornea looks like fucking shit, guys. You know, they like deny it. We're like, no, you have really bad dry eye. You don't even know it. So it was about that. I'm sorry, but this was like probably the worst lecture of the day, and it's not because it wasn't interesting information. I mean, it would be if she like did it better, but the person who did it like spent more time like straight up reading the slides to us. Like, I can read. You don't need to read this stuff word for word, and also don't talk in a monotone voice the entire time. This is very boring. Sorry, but not sorry at the same time. Like, spice it up a little bit. We're all gonna go into a food coma. You need to liven it up a little bit. My next lecture was my favorite one of the day. The name of my next lecture is amazing. It was my favorite one. It was called Drugs and Thugs, which is the whole reason I signed up for it. Because what a name. Love it. Iconic. So, in Drugs and Thugs, it was supposed to cover like the different glaucoma drop options, treatment options, like more surgeries, and like what case we would go to, like why would we go to this, and the different drug classes. However, although it was my favorite lecture, she did not talk about a single option of a glaucoma drop besides bromonidine, and all she said about that is that she sat next to the inventor of bromonidine at a dinner once. I mean, she had very good points, and I loved her in little like stories. She told like little stories, incidental stories about like patients she has, and I'm like, you know, this is very interesting and I like this, but at the same time, like looking back, I'm like, you didn't like actually explain any of the drops. I'm like, this does this, this does this, this does this, which would have been useful, knowing what mechanisms. And it was supposed to talk about new glaucoma treatments, because there's several new glaucoma drops on the market. I mean, they've been on the market for a few years now, but there's no generics available because they're brand name only, they're patented. So, and we've been switching a lot of patients to one of them. We've been switching a lot of patients to Vyzulta, because one of the most common prescribed drops is latanoprost, and it is actually a contributor of retinal edema, particularly in people who already have retinal edema, whether they have macular degeneration or a stroke in the eye, an occlusion. It contributes to the swelling. And so we've been switching a lot of patients off latanoprost who have those diseases to Vyzulta, because it does not do that. And then my last one was ocular trauma, which was pretty interesting. This is the one I have all the gory pictures. I took pictures of the screen. Y'all don't want to see. You don't want to see someone's eyeball like ruptured open with the contents starting to spill out. You guys, I know you guys don't want to see that. Like, I want to gross you guys out. Or like, look at this severe corneal ulcer. Oh, that's like fungal. They're about ready to lose their eye. Like, the option is going to be to pop that eyeball out, because like it's not being saved. Like, I know you guys don't want to do that. Like, this is stuff I haven't seen. I've seen orbital fractions in the office. I have not seen an open globe, which is a punctured eyeball, in the office, because those usually report directly to the ER. And then sometimes if it happens where I live, they call us and we're like, no, honey, we can't handle that. We are not equipped to handle that. You are going to send them to Columbus, because that is the option. But that concludes my trip, and I had a really fun time. Like, I would go back. Like, I had so much fun. And besides that one lecture, which was kind of boring, but like, I had a really fun time though. So that's all I have. I will update you all on my reading progress once I have my iPad in front of me. You can actually see what what I read this week, because I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, it's Sunday morning, so I can update you guys on my reading. I'm outside with the pitties. There's a little bit of snow here left because it started to snow yesterday. So, okay, shut up, bird. Why you gotta be up there making all that noise? So, I obviously told you guys already. I finished Dead of Winter. That's the name of it. I'm thinking of Dead of Night, which is a video game. But I finished Dead of Winter. 4.5 stars is what I think I'm settling on. And then on Wednesday, I read a little bit of The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. I haven't finished it yet. It's not that I'm not enjoying it. It's just like I don't want to physically... I haven't had time this week to like physically sit down and read. So that's going to be like a next week goal, I guess. It's going to be this coming week. And then on Thursday, I read a little bit more, but I had to think. Thursday, I spent a lot of time getting ready for the conference and like dropping Ellie off at my mom's, which is where I'm at now, and finishing my packing stuff. Hello, Miss Coco, you is done? Now we're just waiting for the baby Sammy's. And then Friday, I listened to about 85% of The Second Stranger by, I can't remember the name, but it was available on my Libby, and I listened to, like I said, 85%. I was kind of vibing with it. It's like, it really reminded me of Dead of Nights, the theory of it, where like you're like trapped in a hotel. Like parts of it reminded me of that. So now I'm probably gonna watch that video game playthrough again. And then I finished it on my way back from the conference, and it went well. Like 3.5. Like I had a decent time with it, but reading 2 Let's Get Stranded in a Snowstorm books back to back probably wasn't the best choice in my decision making. So, but then I listened to a little bit more of 11/22/63, so I don't know, I'm a little over halfway now, but I'm like, I gotta finish this book, guys. Like, this is taking forever. But yeah, that's pretty much what I did this week, besides, all the jam-packed stuff. This week is gonna be jam-packed fun too, because we have 87 retina injections. I'm gonna die. It's fine. Everything is just fine.